Located in Palmerol, Conseillante is a historic producer that traces its roots way back to the 1750s. This makes it one of the oldest estates in all of Palmerol. It's also one of my favorites, in large part because it produces wines of extreme elegance and finesse. Conseillante has around 12.5 hectares of vines. These vines have historically been planted to 80% Merlot and 20% Cabernet Franc. Recently, however, Conseillante has been increasing the percentages of Cabernet Franc, and they even planted a parcel of Cabernet Sauvignon that could be utilized in the wine as early as 2025. So going forward, we can expect that the blend for Conseillante will be 70% Merlot, around 25% Cabernet Franc, and perhaps 5% of Cabernet Sauvignon. The Conseillante vines are located in a prestigious area, as its neighbors include Château Petrus and Lavangille. Interestingly, around 30% of Conseillante's vines are located in Saint-Emilion near Cheval Blanc. Conseillante has been using some sustainable farming techniques and gradually converting to organic principles. Every year, a larger percentage of its vines are farmed organically. Conseillante completed a massive renovation of its winery in time for the 2012 vintage. They have a unique circular-shaped winery. They also added a number of concrete vats back then, and this allows them to use parcel-by-parcel vinification, which gives them more precision with their winemaking. Interestingly, Conseillante has also been experimenting with vinifying some of their wine in oak barrels. This started with 6% or so back in 2015, and they were pleased with the results, so they've increased this to around 9% or so. It seems like this vinification in oak gives them a little bit more texture in the wines. Conseillante's wines are typically matured in 70% new French oak, 27% of barrels that have one previous use, and around 3% in amphora. Interestingly, Conseillante is one of the very few Right Bank producers that blends shortly after malolactic fermentation is completed and long before bottling. As mentioned, the thing I really love about the Conseillante wines is that they're wines of elegance and finesse, with silky tannins and velvety texture. These are not the most powerful wines in Palmerol, nor the ripest, but they're perhaps the most elegant and well-balanced. These are extremely sensuous wines, and wines that you definitely have to taste if you haven't done so previously. Conseillante wines typically include flavors and aromas of black cherry, black raspberry, plum, and violets. In fact, this violet descriptor is so well established that Conseillante even has a violet color on its label. Conseillante has been absolutely firing on all cylinders lately. Some of my favorite vintages for Conseillante include 2015, 2016, 2018, 19, and 20. But perhaps two of my absolute favorite vintages are 2022 and 2023. The 2022 vintage should be hitting store shelves soon, and this is a potentially triple 100-point wine. They absolutely crushed it in 2022. This wine will sell for a little bit more than some other vintages of Conseillante, but I think it will be well worth it in the long run. I've seen this one selling for around $300 a bottle or so in the United States. The 2023 vintage is also a potentially perfect wine. I had a chance to get an early read on this wine during my recent visit to the winery. And you can find this one selling on futures for quite a bit less than the 2022 vintage. This one will be closer to $200 or so. But again, it's a wine that I highly recommend. If you're looking for older vintages of Conseillante, some of my favorites include 1990, which was absolutely phenomenal, and 1998. I've also had some mixed results with the 2020 vintage. That one was previously a little bit closed and shut down, but about 6 months ago, this wine seemed to turn a corner a little bit, and some of the more recent bottles that I've tasted have been much more vibrant and expressive, and they appear to be emerging from their slumber. If you enjoyed this video, I've published dozens of other videos about Bordeaux. If you'd like to learn more, please be sure to check out the playlist that's linked above.